So before I jump into my own personal experience with HR, which gives me the stance that I have, I want to say this. The grit and the grime is not just something I'm putting up because I like talking about leadership. It's because I believe a change needs to happen. People at the top need to be accountable. And if they aren't, they need to be gone. As you see, the thing is, more than any other job I have in this world, being a father to 2 daughters is most important to me. And there is supporting them. There's making sure that they're taken care of, like as far as their emotional and financial needs. But I consider as a father, my number one job is the protection of my daughter. I'm willing, and I decided a long time ago, to give my life and to go to jail if it meant protecting my daughters. And I'm going to tell you this. The reason I have such a problem with this, and unlike so many other people, I don't just let it go, is I witnessed a man send a text to a female who's a subordinate that had an inappropriate picture on it and promised professional favors if she'd move to a station with him so they could carry on an inappropriate relationship. I witnessed that. And at the time, I let it go because he wasn't in charge. And the thing was, I felt like she dealt with it, and so it was a dead issue for me. But after he was investigated, when he got caught up with somebody else, they decided a little while later he was the guy that they should put at the top. And a good old boy system comes into place here too. But the thing is, people who would do that and leave and put somebody in that position and leave him in the place, and then they covered up for him multiple times. And then a third time, when he got caught up in something and they couldn't cover up for him, they allowed for him to resign, to walk out the door, reputation intact. Meanwhile, these same people fired one of my friends for saying a curse word in front of a civilian. Let me ask you, curse word in front of a civilian, years and years and years of being covered up for and being allowed to get away with sexual harassment and pursuing inappropriate relationships with female subordinates. Which one do you think is more egregious? And this guy was allowed to fire this guy. But you see, as a father to 2 daughters, I don't feel like anyone should be left in charge who would put females at risk. And I'm going to tell you why, even though he might be gone, it's not a dead issue for me. Because let's say one of my daughters decided to apply and got a job. And someone decided one day, hey, I'm going to sexually harass her. And so one of my daughters got harassed. And they reported it. And said person who did the harassing knew about all the harassment they covered up. And then he came and was like, hey, if you punish me, I'm taking your reputation with me. And I'm going to expose all y'all. Given their history, what do you really think that I think they're going to do? Look out for my daughters? Absolutely not. They're going to play that CYA game, and they're going to make sure they don't have to be accountable and they don't get outed for what they've done. So you see why I might have a problem still? And why I know they're unfit for their position? Even though what happened with HR that I'm about to describe was a scenario where I told too much truth after they allowed the guy to go out the door. And they put me through a fit for duty psychological evaluation for telling too much truth. Yeah, there was a statement in there that they have proven is true. I said it would probably take someone losing their life in order for them to do the right things. And it's over 365 days later. And has anybody been accountable? Does anybody know why he left? They just put it out there that one day he decided to resign. I don't think so. This guy was obsessed with getting a training center made and his name put on it. And I agree. There needs to be a center created with his name on it, the Sexual Harassment Prevention Center. And I think all of them need to have a plaque in there. And if you want to know about their attitude about right and wrong, there's a plaque honoring his service down at the headquarters building that you can go and peruse and check out. Honoring the service of a guy that they knew spent all the time that he was in charge pursuing inappropriate relationships. Meanwhile, we had a Chief Nish Willis, who was an example of what you want as a firefighter. She came in, she ended all the fear and intimidation, morale went up, she cared about us. Now, some people who used to kiss her butt will tell you now, oh, she couldn't get things done. But I tell you this, our department was a lot less diverse, and morale was through the roof when she was there. And she came and brought diversity, and we loved her. We loved working for her. The thing is, she came around right after she got the position and asked us what's wrong, what's right, and how can I fix what's wrong. And, you know, they were after her as soon as that happened. The good old boy system that was in place did not want her there. But you know what? Despite the service that she gave was totally honorable and she did it with integrity, they don't have a plaque on the wall for her. Don't that tell you something about a place? Don't that tell you something when someone who was at least a good person gets no honor, and someone who was a creep and got covered up for over and over and over gets honored on a plaque? I almost walked by there one day and wrote POS across it, a picture of his head, because it makes me so angry. And just in case they try and get rid of it, I took a picture with it. But the thing is, it's ridiculous. There's no standard. And see, the thing is, some people might say, oh, you're breaking a policy because let me tell you something. You want to talk about breaking a policy? You want to talk about breaking a policy? Let me tell you something that I find ridiculous. Having a women's conference that's put on by women who have allowed a man to get away with sexual harassment and seeking inappropriate relationships with female subordinates. That's what I find ridiculous. You want to talk about policies being broken? I don't think you want to talk about that one. But if you come at me, and all these people know this, otherwise they'd have tried to take me down already. They tried it last year. They put me through that fit for duty evaluation. The lady who cleared me told me that I should feel vindicated because I did the right thing. And then when I called HR up and was like, hey, I need to speak to somebody. First, they made me speak to an assistant. And the first 3 letters of that title describe his attitude about the situation. He tried to sit there and convince me that there wasn't enough evidence to remove the guy before he resigned. But what I said was, okay, let's flip it. Tomorrow, you get 3 people like you had with the situation and scenario with me who come in there and tell you that I sent a text with an inappropriate picture on it. And I told a female I would give her professional favors if she moved to my station so we could handle a little inappropriateness. You would have a problem with it, right? And I almost called the guy Michael Jackson because he was moonwalking. No, I'm not saying that. And immediately I jumped on him and said, well, now what you're telling me is the standard for the guy in charge is down here, and the standard for me is way up there. I said, that's no standard at all. And so then after I had that conversation with him, the director finally called me up. And I told her about everything that had happened, described everything to her. And she wasn't the least bit shocked or appalled or anything. It was clear to me she knew who she took her job from, what kind of people they were, and what all they had covered up for. And so I told her, I said, you need to investigate the cover-up. And she refused. She said, I wasn't here when it happened. And I said, well, you knew all the stuff about him. I'm sure you just made it clear you were totally aware of that. And you allowed him to resign instead of terminating him, which should have happened years before that. And you know what she said? It's one of them. And I have the conversation recorded. It just, it's ridiculous to sit there and think that people who are trying to enforce rules on people and come down hard on people sometimes don't even follow the rules themselves. And it's proven by like what I say. They put clowns underneath them as their minions. And I'm going to tell you something. The people that come after me, I know they're going to have to pick one of these people. And they all got histories. And I know all their history. When y'all put me on the sidelines for that fit for duty evaluation, you didn't think I was doing some investigating of my own and gathering some more research? You can't call a place clean until you take out all the trash. And unfortunately, too much of the trash is up at the top. But I'm going to tell you, this thing is not going to end in any way you think you can control it. You don't have no damage control, and you don't have no EOC you can go to and plan for this one. This is a storm that's going to get you. And so all I can say is you got pretty much two options. You can come at me. You can do that. And then I'm going to expose all y'all. Or y'all can do just a mass resignation and say, I decided I need to do a different job. Like, I'm tired of doing this. And this is old. I'm tired of stealing money for not doing a job that I should be doing. Because bottom line is when you're not enforcing the rules and you're not acting with the integrity that you have in your mission statement, then you're not doing your job. And so this is why I don't trust HR. This is why I don't think HR has the power that they don't need the power and the influence that they have. And I'm not going to stop. The reason I started this podcast is because I'm demanding better. And you could sit there and put out a hit on me. Put 2 in my chest and 1 on my head. I've got uploaded videos that people have access to put out. And I've told so many people, I'll speak from the dead. I'm not afraid of this. You know, I go to work and I'm supposed to be brave and courageous in moments when there's danger. And this is exactly what some people would call a dangerous moment. But you know what I'm more fearful of? Looking in the mirror at myself and knowing I wasn't willing to do the right thing. And I'm going to tell you, you know what's been hard the last few years? The fact that I did the right thing at my level and the people above me wouldn't. And they kept on replacing them with other people who kept on doing the wrong thing and kept on covering up. That infuriates me. It makes me mad. And if you want to blow this podcast up and blow it out of the water, come on. Because everybody's going to want to know what you're doing. I promise you, this thing will go. It'll go so viral, you think you got a disease. Because the way y'all came after me last year, they'll come after you. And what you've relied on is fear and intimidation to keep people silent. But let me tell you something about Matt Henry. I think I'm the least important person in any room I walk into. So I want to say that first. And I make plenty of mistakes. And I'm willing to put all of it on the table like I did last year. But the thing is, I don't fear unethical, immoral, basically evil people. So if you want to come at me, I don't enjoy anybody's downfall. But I do enjoy when bad people are removed from positions they shouldn't be in. And that's definitely going to happen in this case. My name is Matt Henry. This has been the Grit and the Grime. I'm sorry for being so personal and sharing so much. I'll get back to just the leadership stuff, but my experience is what makes me who I am. And the thing is, all of us should be willing to stand up and do the right thing. Otherwise, how do you call yourself a man or a woman? How do you call yourself worthy of your position if you just go along? If you're part of the go along gang and you're a Blue Falcon, I don't want to be around you anyway. I hope you all have a nice day. I hope you'll like, subscribe, share, comment. We need to put all this out here because what they rely on is silence. But they're not getting it from me. Have a nice day.